$1 fee to alleged bribes. Full story, we're told, is on page 9. Mahama shakes up national security with new appointments. IMF urges quarterly power tariff reviews. Full story on page 12. I know Patrice doesn't even want to hear this. 400 new jobs, airstrip roads take off. SDA church to rescue government abandoned Agenda 111 projects. Interesting.
Wow.
That's the SDA wanting to do so. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times.
They've asked churches and some other groups to come in and provide support to help complete some of the Agenda 111 facilities.
Okay.
Because
the churches?
Yeah.
Otabil was recently saying they should build a cathedral. I'm assuming his statement was to the Christian community, not to every Ghanaian, because, I mean, we are in a time where we're just transitioning from a crisis phase, and it's not a priority right now. But I understood his call to the Christian community. So would they prefer building Agenda 111 hospitals or support building them, or they would prefer building the cathedrals like he proposed? It's a question for the gods.
Maybe we'll put a poll up on our socials and we'll find out. We'll gauge the temperature on the ground for the Christian community. Where do you want to put your money behind? An edifice to the glory of God, or some projects
facility
that can, help the community. Anyways, the Ghanaian Times this morning. Lawyers cannot shun vacation trials. Deputy AG Dr. Justice Remsai is pictured here on the front page. Get Fund launches furniture appeal for schools. Some 100 million cedi fund to drive agriculture transformation launch. Special courts, not political witch hunts. And that's the Chief Justice there speaking.
For the Informer newspaper, Galamsey steals Ghana's children. Pupils abandon classrooms. 4,000 Ghana cedis mining jobs. GBA warns Chief Justice over legal vacation rules. MPP heats up over Berko bribery case as SEMSI demands disclosure of 2013 power deals. And the banner headlines, minority 22 billion loss, minority interested in accountability, GoldBod excesses. Afenyo tells Sammy Gyamfi, citizens must feel economic recovery, government told. GAUA strikes over pay gap. And then on the back page, the back page captures the NPP heats up over Berko bribery case. For the Custodian newspaper, AG opposes bail for Wuntumi, pending appeal. CJ rubbishes GBA concerns on legal vacation. U.S. investigators flag $42 million for Ghanaian firm in AXA energy deal. MPP accuses CJ of partisan conduct. SDA offers lifeline to abandoned Agenda 111 projects. That's
I think we should get a bit more in detail in terms of details on that story. Are they taking it over completely?
There's a story here. Let me just touch on it. The Ghana Adventist Health Services of the Seventh-day Adventist SDA Church has offered to partner the government to complete some of the unfinished Agenda 111 projects across the country. The commitment was made when a delegation from SDA Health Services, led by Dr. James Entry, paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Health, Kwabena Minta Akando, to discuss opportunities for collaboration in healthcare delivery. The delegation presented a proposal outlining 4 priority areas in which the SDA Church could support the health sector: trauma care, holistic wellness, oncology and cancer treatment, and rehabilitation and other health services. The proposed partnership is aimed particularly at strengthening healthcare delivery in underserved communities and expanding access to specialized medical services. So that is just a hint of the story.
So, it doesn't disclose whether they are assuming, okay, because the headline suggests a lifeline for the projects.
Yes, government seeks private faith-based support. Mr. Akando said partnerships with faith-based health institutions and the private sector were essential to addressing the increasing demands of the country's health. He said government alone could not meet all the healthcare needs of the population and therefore encouraged institutions such as the Christian Health Association of Ghana, CHAG, and SDA Church and private sector operators to support the completion and operationalization of Agenda 111 facilities. The minister commended the SDA Church for its long-standing contribution to healthcare delivery, particularly in underserved communities, and welcomed its willingness to support the completion of health infrastructure. He said government was prepared to provide guidance to organizations willing to take up specific Agenda 111 projects, stressing that such partnerships would involve direct support for completing the facilities rather than financial contributions to government. Mr. Akando urged CHAG and other private sector organizations to identify specific projects and areas where they could provide support so that the government could facilitate their participation. 6 regional hospitals planned. The minister also disclosed plans to construct 6 regional hospitals in the newly created regions as part of efforts to improve access to healthcare across the country. He said provision had been made for 3 of the 6 hospitals to be constructed this year, with the work on the remaining 3 expected to begin in 2027.
Right. That's fair enough. I think there are still a bit more in terms of modalities before we can say that a specific hospital has been taken over and is being completed by a church or anything like that. Any more papers?
Yes, for the daily guide.
Daily guide.
Edubuahine trial judge insists on legal vacation hearing, and Soya committee got growth 82 registration date wrong, 4th estate. Damang mine for failing promises, 400 locals employed, airstrip, roads underway. Shake up at national security. AG opposes Wuntumi's bail pending appeal. 2 arrested for killing man at Tuba.
Wow. So I have the BNFT. The BNFT this morning says a Greek education fund, GAFET, targets 100 million Ghana cedis. And then trade grew nearly 9-fold to 52.5 billion US dollars from 2024 to 2025. The Source newspaper says that Protect Adamus, don't gag it. Bentil to Lands Minister. And also, bribery scandal. Prosecute implicated officers. This is coming from the NPP. The Daily Gist this morning says, Asante Beko conviction opens can of worms. Martin Amidu exposes government in AXA bribery scandal. And the bold banner headline says, shake up at national security. Mahama hires experienced hands, sacks coordinator's brother. The Herald this morning says, NPP's Katie Hammond dodges accountability in $1 million US Dumso era bribery scandal. And then NIMOS arrests 40 over illegal mining, excavators, guns, and 128,000 Ghana cedis seized. The Supreme newspaper this morning says NIMOS arrests 40, seizes mining equipment across 6 regions. Adamus loses 3 mining cases. And Naomi Alabi appointed curator for Homo Festival in New Jersey. There's one called the Daily Update, which says that court throws out Chede's application in Kola Holding and awards 20,000 Ghana cedis costs. You will cross-examine witness if your lawyer fails to appear, judge to Edubuahin's wife. And Women in Leadership says, know the law before you travel. A caution to Ghanaian women seeking opportunities abroad. Also, Vice President calls for holistic approach to tackling Kayaye challenges. The Custodian this morning, okay, it's been done already, Daily Guide done. Publisher. So the publisher says, SDA moves to rescue Agenda 111 after months of government neglect. NPP accuses Chief Justice of weaponizing the courts. Adenta Dodowa road users cry for help, the same as Gulf City road users. Naomi Alabi named curator for 2020 US Homo Festival. The Punch this morning says, build police quarters, get more personnel. Regional commander tells Mankranso DCE. And don't overlook ear discomfort. Early care can prevent complications. This is coming from one of the top herbal medicine doctors. KMA bans tree felling without approval. Don't I just love this directive? Felling of trees, it is done without approval in Ghana. And that is one of the major things that disturbs the ecosystem. Anyway, good morning to a young man called Ericus Papa for sending in the newspapers. I don't know if you did the insight.
No.
Okay, the insight says from poverty to opportunity. Vice President pledges support for Kayaye. This Kayaye, they're in trouble. They've been promising since 12 BC. Every day we have this for Kayaye, this for Kayaye. Anyway,
towards the end of the last administration,
they built something, for Kayaye,
and they had passing out. I don't know what happened after that. Some of them had iPhone.
Why do we need Kayaye?
13 and all during the passing out. I said,
hey, Iran commends Kwesi Pratt for courage journalism. Wow. Anyways,
I might not be forgotten. They had the
they had the
Kayaye Hotel.
Someone is asking Patrick if the bike they ride is an electric bike.
Oh no! I don't do electric bike. You see, electric bikes enhance your movement, and I don't do that.
Yours is
I like to do resistant cycling. So I want it is power. It's a lot of power. So it's power activated. That is what I like to do.
Right.
You get it. I don't do electric and all those things as K and so do.
You should see
manpower.
You should see Helen's face. But let's proceed with the papers.
Really? Yeah. Okay. So Metro Lens says, you people just don't know.
Unbelievers.
$42 billion AXA bribes. How US investigators expose the consultancy's bribery scheme. My question is that why is US so much interested in certain things like this? Because,
why shouldn't they be, Patrice?
Well, you have charged somebody for something.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's okay. Let's leave it there.
Why should we leave it there, Patrice?
Because when we get into the US itself, what is their standard of operations?
It doesn't cancel out wrongdoing.
No, I'm not saying it should cancel out.
Yes,
you have said it. Fine.
It is what it is.
Let us move on.
Yeah.
You get it. You are going to convict the person.
What's your problem with the US?
No, I don't have a problem with the US. I don't have a problem with the US at all. Who am I? Am I Iran?
And what are your expectations of the Ghanaian
outcome?
institutions? Yeah.
No, there are so many. You see, there are so many things that come to the fore when it comes to corruption. Mm-hmm. And when you are to read the corruption index of all the countries in the world, US stands out all. You get it? I'm not saying they should not. I'm not saying we shouldn't arrest people or prosecute people who are culpable when it comes to issues concerning corruption. But I'm saying that the flooding of our pages is just too much on a matter that we all know.
No, I should tell you it's a matter of national concern, and it is what it is. If you've looked at the sentiment analysis, you'd realize it's a matter of national concern. So Ghanaians are not at fault to speak largely on it. These days our expectations for anti-corruption is very high.
Oh, it's very, very high. That one I agree. But I mean,
particularly because this is a government that came into power.
It's becoming one too many.
Championing Operation Recover or Loot, ORA.
Yes.
So the expectations are high.
So all loot. Okay. Yes. Anyway, let's recover all.
And that's
loot.
why we've seen our Attorney General do what he does. Going after those he has to go after. We were saying Aina was not doing this, was not doing that. Now he's doing what he has to do.
Yeah.
And we have a problem with that too.
No, we don't have a problem.
We have to be fair.
We'll get into the arguments as to the legal vacation.
Daily Graphic this morning says Galamsey destroys 60% of rivers. Scientists raise alarm over implications. And then poor court administration erodes public trust. This is coming from the Chief Justice. And SNIT targets 2.8 million active members by 2028, and it's got the picture of Kwesi Afre Baini, Director General of SNIT. Kwesi, good morning to you. I hope you're keeping well, and we wish you all the best in this initiative that you intend to drive. So that is it for this morning.
Online portals quickly. That's what I'm going to take us. 3news.com leads with Ghana Auctioneers Association blows alarm over unauthorized letters to circumvent established auction procedures. That should interest a lot of us. I'll get us details of that. More than half of Secundi's 2025 District Assembly's common funds spent on unapproved activities. MP cites Assembly as authorizing. It's not complete. Education Ministry denies plans to make Arabic compulsory in Ghanaian schools. NPA, I think there may have been suggestions they were seeking to do that. NPA mourns its deputy CEO, says the petroleum downstream has lost a gem. Legal vacation. Chief Justice's defense is unconvincing, legally unreasonable. The NPP is saying this. I'm just reading a story in relation to it.
Right.
MyJoyOnline.com, the top story. Private citizen drags Chief Justice Attorney General to Supreme Court over legal vacation.
Yeah.
Right? Why these two cases? Atachia questions Chief Justice's expedited trial order. Ghana, Burkina Faso signed defense pact to secure cross-border trade corridors. Also, judiciary must win public confidence to protect democracy. NPP accuses Chief Justice of partisan bias of a vacation trial warrant. And also, Ghana's tomato ginger shortfalls deepen import bill, CSIR researchers say. And vacation courts can handle substantive matters. Young Lawyers Forum challenges GBA position. That's interesting.
Yeah.
The Young Lawyers Forum is actually an umbrella body under the GBA, and they are challenging the mother body's position that the vacation court should not be hearing substantive matters. Also, Ghana spends $168 million on tomato imports. Ginger dependence exceeds 99%. It's according to
wait, what does that mean?
CSIR.
99% of the ginger comes from elsewhere.
I'll get us details on that story.
Ginger.
CSIR.
Voila. Now, contumely, where do you think contumely comes from?
Anyway,
They
to
come
the
from
extent
Togo.
that Yemwadie.
Yeah. Contumely comes from, you get a lot of contumely from
So
Togo.
that's on citynewsroom.com. Let me do Ghana web
So,
quickly.
but every day we are growing things here. What are we even growing? We are growing things.
Growing what?
What is growing
Where?
here?
Growing where? On large scale, you don't match up. You don't match up, not to Burkina Faso, which is a Saharan region that is growing strawberry and all those kind of things. I mean, I had an interview with a past, what's the name?
A Greek minister?
No, not a Greek minister. High Commissioner, Israeli, ambassador, Israeli ambassador. And he was telling us that, look, it is very easy for Ghana to learn from Israel, the way they grow things. Within this room alone, you cannot imagine the tonnage of tomatoes that we can grow. What they do is that they do the vertical agric farming.
I think the other day we spoke about urban
on this
farming.
wall, you can grow tomatoes all the way to the top, all the way to the top, all the way to the top, all the way in here. And you'll be amazed at the produce. You'll be amazed at the outcome. So it looks like we are not ready to learn anything. Because if we want to bridge that gap when it comes to food produce and reserves and all that, these are very easy things. My point is that, like we keep saying, do not invent the wheel. Go to where the best practices are already existing and they are doing well. Then you follow up on that. Simple.
Right. I'll get us into the story so that I'll pick a few more comments. Ghana, where Prophet Bedu Kobe reportedly hospitalized after collapsing. Afenyo-Markin speaks on calls to become Baomia's running mates. Citizen drag Attorney General Chief Justice to Supreme Court. So in relation to the legal vacation, Atacha hits back at judge of a legal vacation saga. Inside the Secret Service, Shell game to hide U.S. president in plain sight. Right, I have a few of the stories that I'm going to get details of. I think I will start off with the tomato and whatever import. So Ghana is spending at least $168 million annually on fresh and processed tomato imports, while a disease outbreak has pushed the country's dependence on imported ginger beyond 99%. So there's a disease outbreak on the ginger situation. The figures presented by researchers at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, highlights the scale of Ghana's import dependence in two key horticulture commodities and the foreign exchange costs associated with weak domestic production. The researchers disclosed the figures during the second session of the 2026 Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology Innovation Visibility webinar series held under the theme CSIR's Interventions on Tomato and Ginger. Dr. Michael Kwabnose, Principal Research Scientist and Vegetable Breeder at the CSIR Crop Research Institute, said Ghana's annual demand for fresh and processed tomatoes exceeds 1.4 million metric tons. However, domestic production meets only about 15 to 18% of that requirement. Fresh tomato imports, mainly from Burkina Faso, are estimated at between 100,000 and 120,000 metric tons annually, costing Ghana about $18 million. Processed tomato imports, largely from China and Europe, are equivalent to an estimated 400,000 to 450,000 metric tons, estimated at $150 million. More than 60% of fresh tomato imports enter the country between November and April, when domestic production falls sharply during the dry season. Good morning to the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, the Honorable Eric Opoku, and then his deputy, John Dumelo, right? Special good mornings to them. And there's a reason I'm saying good morning to them, because somewhere this year, Burkina Faso issued a circular that export of tomato from out of the country was to cease. That resulted in a near pandemonium among traders, because they said, hey, if you're not getting tomatoes from Burkina Faso, where are we going to get it from?
Right.
And there was concern and what have you. Obviously, the Ghanaian authorities intervened, had conversations with Burkina Faso and what have you, and that ceased. But there was a promise that was going to be reversed in the next planting season. So, good morning to them, because I suspect the next planting season has already kicked off. Are we going to see that same situation? Are we going to see an increase in the production, particularly between this November and April, when production drops, which creates the dependence? Words which were spoken to us, we want to see action. So special good mornings to them.
Yeah, we need to invite John Dumelo or the minister himself to the studio to come and tell us. We've been on
that
yes.
campaign for a very long time.
So you see, like I keep saying, when we're going to recruit a chief justice, we're going to recruit Supreme Court, whoever, whatever. We have things that we say to those people. It comes back to the same point. Otherwise, it becomes like one-sided drum that we're beating. How many times haven't we discussed this matter on radio concerning low values and volumes of foods that we need to import from other countries? So sometimes, what am I supposed to say? I'm a mere citizen of this country. All I do is to watch the space and comment on it. Others have done similar. Others, even with more experience, have done similar. CSOs have said a lot that they need to say. My point is, to what extent do we bring those in charge, those who have been put in political office, to what extent do we bring them to book when they do not deliver? Question 2 is, on what basis are you going to hold them for not delivering? Delivering on what? You don't have a plan for tomatoes. You don't have a plan for carrots. You don't have any plan for, protein production. You don't have any plan for it. So how and why would you say this person has reneged on their responsibility as head?
Go to their manifesto. At least that's the working document.
Great. So when you come to the manifesto is a working document of a political party based on their whims and caprices.
No,
you can't hold them to it.
In the interim, and yes, I agree.
You can't hold them to it.
We've been having conversations as to a national plan and all of that.
Thank you.
And the fact that it's not being followed.
Yes.
Agenda 2057. I always go back to it, Agenda 2057, because that's what we have now, right? Granted, it's not being followed. I think the other time I was showing us similarities and where they branch separately and all of that. But if you want to, and I know Imani does some work in relation to the campaign promises and whether or not they are living up to it.
Yeah.
On the score of the fact that there is no plan, the only existing document is the party's manifesto,
which is flimsy.
That is what they bring to you, and they say
it is a flimsy
vote
document.
For me, and I will do these things.
It is a flimsy document,
right?
It's
so
a flimsy document.
We must always go back to it and say
it's not a flimsy document.
It is a flimsy document.
No, manifestos exist everywhere else.
You see, the manifesto is not flimsy, Patrice.
Okay,
it is the execution of the manifesto that you can possibly call flimsy, because I mean, every voter or most voters decide based on the manifesto of the party they want in power. So we cannot just dismiss manifestos as flimsy. It is the execution that we usually question, and that is what we also usually hold them to account, because the manifesto is a catalog of promises, and how those promises
vain
are
promises.
Vain promises, and how those promises are going to be executed.
By even the National Development Plan, it's a futuristic intention of what should be. Projection.
Exactly.
Right. So all of the things in the end will come down to how well it is being implemented.
Can we not cap it? You see, my point is, can we not just cap it? It's just simple. And permit me to say, common sense.
Because I don't agree with you.
If we want the country to progress, the same way we put certain measures in place when we are electing people, nominating people, putting people in positions of authority, we put certain restrictions. Why can't we do similar?
Look,
do you think that this country wants to develop? Do you believe that Ghana wants to develop?
I agree with you on that point you make. It's thought-provoking, right? That for certain positions, there are specific requirements.
Yes.
That guide who should occupy the position. In other positions, there is no specific requirement, and it is left open. That's open to debate as well, right?
Because we talked about that the other day, whether or not that allows for flexibility, in that if we were to restrict the criteria, we might be missing out on maybe personalities who have what it takes but don't necessarily have that criteria. But I agree with Patrice to the extent that we've tried that method, and clearly that isn't yielding results. Yeah. So let's go for the option where that foundation is laid, so that at the very least we can expect that you understand the fundamentals of ABCD in the specific field that you've been placed into, so that certain things are, quote unquote, a no-brainer.
Here's what I'm going to say in addition, just briefly. Whether, businesses, right? When someone is being, when you go through an employment position, there are specific KPIs. It's a job,
the criteria, right? For you.
It's a criteria.
Job description, everything, qualification and all.
Sometimes it feels like the positions are not seen like the way in private big corporations and all of that things are done. Yeah. Right? Because that is in
a company like Coca-Cola is struggling.
Yeah. And you go to elsewhere and they tell you the country is being run like a business.
Yep.
It must make profit.
As it should, because you have government entities making a loss year on year, and you think these particular individuals who are at the helm of affairs, were they a private business, would they continue to just be relaxing, making a loss year on year, still buying expensive cars?
So National Insurance Commission, do you think that the topmost engineer in this country can head National Insurance Commission? On what? You don't understand insurance. Yours is engineering. That is what I'm speaking to. Medical practitioners.
Meritocracy.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So the head of the Ghana Medical Association, you think an agriculturist would be made the head of it? No. It must be somebody who has direct knowledge. You must know something about it, if not a lot about it. Otherwise, you're beating about Patrice, the bush.
In certain circumstances, also within the political parties, they have working committees prior to winning power.
Yeah.
They have committees.
We've seen the NPP's recent committees.
They have committees that are organized around certain key sectors. And within this organization, it becomes a learning process for some of them who are later appointed.
But they
I
have not
understand that
proven
the
to us.
value
Yeah,
is
they
not
haven't
the
proven to
same,
us. They haven't
but
proven to
just
us.
so that we understand that, I mean, it's not just a vague appointment. They always believe that the person has some sector knowledge,
Yeah.
and can be assisted by a technical person. And we have seen that it has often yielded very little results, and would love that it transitions from that. But
I agree,
Patrice,
Minister.
don't dismiss a manifesto.
Oh, I will.
Yes,
let me tell you something.
it's a catalog of promises. It's a catalog
Yes.
of how those promises will be delivered, and it is also a reference point for voters,
I would
to look at the
dismiss
promises.
a manifesto
and then measure them.
500% any day, anytime in this country called Ghana. My point is that it is a state that we are dealing with.
But without a manifesto, how do you understand what they say they will do?
So they are what we call, they are dawdling. That is what they are doing. They are playing, I almost said something. they are playing with it. With nothing in sight. That is what they are playing with.
What are they playing with?
I think what the
It is
problem
because
is.
the political
what
parties,
are they playing with,
they are excited over the fact that there's no end in sight. These people say, let's go. Where are we going? Remember the Arab Spring. Get him out, get him out, get him out, get him out. For who to come and replace them? Look
What
at those
difference will it make
Exactly.
when we know what they will do?
No,
J.
when we
Cole
know.
says it in a song, What difference will it make when we know what they're going to do?
Yeah, it makes a lot of difference when you know that Ghana is planning to, let's say, Agenda 111. Ghana has planned that by 2028 we would have 111 hospitals. In your manifesto now, because it is something that is we have constitutionalized, or there's a legislation to make it stand. In your manifesto, you tell us how you are going to ensure that you build 101 hospitals by this period of time. With what funding, and what are you doing? What are the technicalities involved? Then we know. When somebody talks about, Palugu tomato factory, we don't have it, we are going to build it in Commander Sugar Factory, we are going to do it. Don't just listen to it out of just so. There was a time that it was Park Westin Doom and the late Professor Mills, and it was what they call the presidential debate. I was listening to them, and people thought that, hey, these guys have spoken. These guys, I'm like, they didn't say anything. Because tell me that Palugu tomato factory, we need an equipment that is valued at $200,000. It's over 10 acres of land that we can do. It can employ 14,000 workers and engineers, 16,000. We can do 2,000 of this and produce this tonnage. When we produce this tonnage, this is what will be released on the local markets. This is what we can export, and this is what we can for the future. Give me a total figure. So in all, we need $20 million to run Palugu Tomato Factory. I will salute you. But don't just come and tell me that Palugu Tomato Factory is there. Nobody's in this thing shoe factory. Don't be open about it.
Right. I've been listening to you and trying to appreciate the point that you make. And granted, there is some elements which you're very right about. But I think it will still come down to how well things are implemented. Because the example you cite, someone can tell you it will cost $15 million to do X. They'll come and do not do it. And there's absolutely nothing. It's an appreciation of you and I, both citizens and whoever, putting our hands to the wheel and exacting accountability. Because the example you cite, I'm just going to give you one further example of what's happening right now. We've been promised an expressway. We've been told how much it will cost. In fact, work and all of that is starting. There is funding, we are told, which has been purposely made available to it and all of that. Right? That's an example of a plan which we've been told how much it will cost and everything. What's left to do? Citizens asking the questions, demanding accountability and seeking to get an understanding as to whether the project is making progress or not. The point is, there will be working documents, there will be plans. We can't say that manifestos are not important because, and I agree with you, it should be elevated beyond just we will do X and X and X. We can elevate what the manifesto is to a finer, more concrete plan as to detailings in cost and well thought through project. Because sometimes when you pick the documents, they just mention Ghana has suffered. Even though the National Development Plan, it just stipulates what needs to be done by X date, right? Some of it, not everything. We will need a refined approach to how to deal with problems and what interventions are required at each stage. That I agree with.
Have you ever seen any political party manifesto say we're going to elect 2 presidents?
No.
Have you ever heard them say?
I'm just agreeing with you on the point that we need
I'm only adding to
details.
It. Have you ever seen a political manifesto say?
I want us to move on to
we're going to have 3
matters.
chief justices. Have you ever heard any political party say that we're going to have what's the name? 4 MPs? Have you ever heard any political manifesto say that we're going to have 6 vice presidents? They can't say that because the National Constitution 1992 says that there shall be 1 president, there shall be a vice, there shall be a parliamentarian, and so they can't go out of it. So what I'm saying is that let us put reins over these political parties so that in their manifestos they will tell us exactly how they are going to implement whatever promises they make to the people.
Fair. Any story of interest, Helen? I'm sure you have a story of interest.
I've had the center spread of the Ghanaian Times open for a while now. I know it's one of our major conversations this morning, but I thought we'd lay the foundation with this story so we know what to expect when the time comes. Lawyers cannot shun vacation trials. Dr. Justice Sremsai, he's the Deputy Attorney General, he's speaking here, also pictured in the center spread. Now, the Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Justice Sremsai, has said the Ghana Bar Association's position on criminal trials during the legal vacation is not supported by law. He said the decision to conduct proceedings during the annual legal vacation rested with the bench and that lawyers could not unilaterally absent themselves from court during the period. Dr. Sremsai was responding to a petition signed by the president of the GBA, Mrs. Ifwa Gate, to the Chief Justice, arguing that vacation sittings should be restricted to urgent or interlocutory matters and that lawyers were not compelled to attend during the recess. That's an interesting choice of word.
Yeah.
Compelled. Is that really the case? Okay, I'm quoting him here. He says, "There's no genuine or real controversy here," he said. "The matter is simple. It's been the case that vacation courts are always sitting whenever there's a legal vacation. No one can dispute that simple fact." He dismissed the GBA's president's assertion that an established convention barred vacation courts from conducting full trials as completely false and unsupported by law. And the story goes on, and of course, we'll be talking about that in some details as we proceed. Any surprises there that a private citizen is...
I think what the private citizen is asking
is taking the CJ to task. Any surprises?
The arguments they make is that the legal vacation is unconstitutional because it impedes justice delivery, amongst other things. It's become important because of the politicization of the conversation right now. Right? Suddenly, we're being told that the legal vacation must hear only interlocutory matters or applications and not get into the substantive cases, which evidence is suggesting that it's not the case, right? Evidence is suggesting that that is not the case. So we'll see how that suit plays out. But there's a general conversation as to what is happening with the respective cases and why arguments are going in the manner in which
who empanels the judges?
The vacation, yeah.
No,
I mean, he issues.
So the point is that
he issues a warrant for vacation
exactly.
judges to sit.
So it's a weighted kind of thing. Look, let us not belittle a lot of things that is happening in this country. So, what is the ratio of the citizen or a lawyer to a citizen in Ghana? Is 1 to 5,000. It's 1 lawyer to 5,000. Meanwhile, globally, it's supposed to be 1 to 250 people. That is the general thing that is accepted. Now, since 1963, when we started getting people into the legal fraternity, we have over 12,000. Over 12,000, close to 12,000 lawyers. And we are saying that, look, there's not many of them. But the lawyer cannot go to work every day, or the judge cannot sit every day and not take a break. It's a lot of brain work. You get it? It's a lot of brain work. So when they say there's a legal vacation, well, unfortunately, your case fell in there. However, what if a judge adjourns your case to a certain period and it is over 2 months? What say you? There's nothing you can say to that. So the legal vacation is over 2 months, right?
Yeah,
there are a month to 2.
Yes.
So no problem. So if your case is adjourned to that period, that is fine. Now, if they say that your case can be heard during the legal vacation, it is the responsibility of the Chief Justice to empanel. And are we saying that those who are going to be empaneled will have a vacation mind, so they can't
the argument being made is that there's
a grand agenda. So if we expand the conversation, if you listen to members from the New Patriotic Party, according to them, the optics appear to be that this is a grand scheme. This has been engineered to ensure that cases that concern the political opponents of the ruling government are expedited. That is the long
during
and
the
short.
legal vacation.
During the legal, that is the long and short of the conversation that has been catapulted into the
This is becoming a joke more.
Let's fact check.
It's becoming a joke. Claims.
Yeah, I've been reading.
Yeah, let's fact check some of these claims.
Great.
I'll start with legal vacation means the High Court should not sit. You know, we've heard that in the narrative.
That's false.
Yes, that is false. The fact on the record is that Order 79, Rule 1 of CI 47 expressly provides that the Chief Justice may appoint any day, including vacations, for hearing of causes or matters as circumstances require.
Thank you.
The second one is August 1st to 30th is the legal vacation. It is true. Order 79, Rule 4 establishes the long vacation, but critically, Rule 4 begins subject to Rule 1.1. The vacation, therefore, operates subject to the Chief Justice's power under Rule 1. There's also another that has been said. The Chief Justice has no power to authorize a judge to sit during vacation. That is also false. The Rule 1.1 expressly gives the Chief Justice that authority.
Sure.
And then there is lawyers can decide that proceedings cannot continue because they are unavailable during vacation. It has not been established by the rule cited. CI 47 places the power to appoint sitting days in the Chief Justice, not council or professional association. That does not eliminate legitimate applications for adjournment based on council circumstances. But the established fact is it has not been, And then we've also heard there is a binding convention that vacation courts never conduct trial. This is a claim requiring proof. GBA letter supplied in this matter asserts a long-standing practice that vacation courts handle emergencies and interlocutory matters rather than trials. But the existence, exact scope, and binding character of that asserted convention require evidential and legal establishment. And then a convention can override Order 79. We have heard it. It is legally doubtful. An asserted practice cannot simply erase the express wording of a valid legislative instrument. Order 79 expressly contemplates hearings during vacation. We have also heard the Chief Justice controls the court absolutely. That is false. The Chief Justice heads and administratively supervises the judiciary, but the judiciary itself is subject to the Constitution. Article 125 says judicial power is vested in an independent judiciary subject to the Constitution. We've also heard that once the CJ issues a vacation warrant, fair trial objections disappear. It is false. Article 19 separately protects the accused person's right to a fair hearing and legal representation. A lawful sitting can still produce a constitutional problem if the manner in which proceedings are conducted materially prejudices the defense. We've also heard an accused person has an absolute right to stop proceedings whenever chosen counsel is absent. It's too broad. Article 19 protects representation and a fair hearing, but the right must operate within judicial case management and lawful procedure. It is not automatically equivalent to an unlimited power to dictate hearing dates. And then we have heard the controversy is really about whether courts may sit in August. Misleading. The written rules already contemplate vacation sittings. The sharper constitutional controversy is what a court may fairly do when retained defense counsel declines or is unable to attend. So the bottom line is that C147 does not shut the courts during legal vacation. Rule 4 creates the vacation subject to Rule 11, and Rule 11 expressly empowers the Chief Justice to appoint a day, including during vacation, for the hearing of causes or matters. So the stronger legal battle is not simply can the court sit, it is how far can the court proceed without defense counsel before the constitutional right to a fair trial is impaired.
I think a lot has been said, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, so the point is that there's legal vacation. I mean, that is what is due everybody within the legal fraternity. I don't know how they feel about it, but I mean, everybody needs to take leave. Number two, who is saying, I'm surprised. I need to be fully seized of the fact that it is the NPP that is crying that legal vacations have segregated certain judgments and rule in favor of people who are seen to be on the other side. It's just convoluted.
We heard from Samuel Atachian, and that was his, firm position.
You see, let us not. You see, it is not right for us to be doing these things to a legal fraternity that you belong to. You have served under it for so many years. You get it? And for us to be saying and pointing fingers at certain judgments because it's appointed unto man. There is a time that things may go a certain way. You may add one and get two, but the answer is wrong.
But there's a consistency problem, and the consistency problem is that these vacations did not begin with CJ Bafuboni.
No. Legal vacations have been there since 12 BC. They've been
there since. I mean, the vacations have been there, and
yes.
In August 2023, under the then Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono, 12 of the 42 high courts at the Accra Law Court Complex were specifically designated to operate during the legal vacation.
That is it.
Significantly, the list included Criminal Court 1 and Criminal Court 3, alongside commercial, financial, land, and general jurisdiction courts. Justice Tokono also subsequently defended the legal vacation itself while recognizing the Chief Justice's power under the rules of court to designate courts to sit notwithstanding the vacation. That history matters. It would therefore be difficult to maintain that the mere act of a Chief Justice authorizing a sitting during vacation
suggest.
People will say simplicity, right?
Today I've not heard Helen say a lot of things.
But
I'm going to end with an opinion, right, by Manasseh Azuri Awene.
Okay.
In relation to this matter, because he's been writing on his website, and it says that, put differently, what the lawyers are trying to do is to opponilize the cases.
Which is?
Praying for a favorable outcome of the 2028 election to enact their own version of Operation Create All Looters, which the NDC executed at the dawn of the administration that is now spearheading its Operation Recover All Loot. As an investigative journalist who has uncovered major corruption scandals without seeing them resolved, I lean towards speedy trials. Legal vacations, which the experts have described as being vacations for judges and not vacations for lawyers or cases, are an impediment to speedy trials. I have no problem with the Chief Justice's warrants for judges to sit during the legal vacation. For this reason, this write-up is not to advance arguments. And he says a lot of what case says in relation to, but there's additional detail. There are 26 judges which are sitting nationwide during the vacation, according to the warrant which was signed.
Legal vacation doesn't mean law has ceased. That's what people should not forget. Yeah.
And he makes a very interesting point that in a country where the justice system is extremely slow, we cannot afford to lose so much judicial time to legal vacation.
That I disagree with.
By the second week of October, the judges who are currently on vacation will have returned and settled, while those who are sitting during the legal vacation will go on leave. At the time the judges who will be proceeding for leave in October return, Christmas break and other end-of-year interruptions will be beckoning. This means that if Kwabena Dubois and Hanan Abdul Wahab's cases are not called during this legal vacation, when the judges hearing their cases are sitting, there won't be any meaningful progress on the cases for the rest of this year. That will help Stephen opinialization agenda, but help Ghana's anti-corruption fight. I'm laughing because of the way he says Stephen opinialization of the cases. But that's one argument, or that's one leg of the argument, really, which there hasn't been attention, or people have not paid attention to. Right?
People have paid attention.
If we don't, so that's the argument he's making, that if we are to agree with the argument by counsel for these two, and the substantive cases are not heard during the entire legal vacation, when the legal vacation ends, those judges who are sitting on the cases will now take their vacation, which means the cases will still not be heard. And by the time they return from their legal vacation, the Christmas break, so essentially for the rest of the year.
How is it so?
No,
I don't understand it.
So let me explain. And this is the argument being made by Manasseh, right?
Yes,
that
I disagree with the argument.
That as we speak now, the lawyers for Abdul Wahab, Hanan, and then Kwabena Dubois say that don't hear the substantive matter whilst the legal vacation is on because it's a break.
And what has the Chief Justice said to that effect?
No.
Or they're only promising?
It's not about a promise. It's an argument they are making.
Okay.
It's a request.
Yeah.
And Manasseh is arguing that if you accede to that request, it means that for the rest of the year, potentially, those cases will not be heard. Here is why. So their request is granted that the legal vacation, you not hear the case. So August, September, they'll return in October. So those cases will not be heard during the entire legal vacation. Now, when the legal vacation ends and the rest of the justices return, the persons who were sitting during legal vacation go on their break.
Those who are sitting during the legal vacation,
because
are they the same people who are supposed to be dealing with these two matters?
Yes, they are the ones hearing the substantive matter. So they will now go on their break. So what were they
doing during the legal vacation?
Patrice, I think you are not following the argument.
No, I'm following it because if during the legal vacation, you said the cases should not be heard. So it's not going to be heard. So they will come and hear it after
the legal vacation. Yes. But you see, the legal vacation, within the architecture, judges don't get any break the entire year. So the legal vacation is when they take their official leave.
Great.
So when the official leave is being taken, because justice delivery cannot be suspended, there are vacation judges which are appointed.
Great.
And the expectation is that the vacation judges, whilst they are hearing other matters in relation to other courts, must hear their own cases.
Of course.
Right? Now, the argument being made by the lawyers of some of the accused persons is that legal vacation don't hear the substantive cases. And I'm saying that here is the argument being made by Manasseh why their argument should not be heeded to. That if you grant their request and you don't hear their cases during the legal vacation.
After the legal vacation,
those judges are entitled to also go on a break.
Yeah.
And then it will mean that for the rest of the year, the case will also not be heard until possibly January of next year, which will affect the fight against corruption. So it's the argument is making that we should not pay attention to them and that the cases should be heard, because those judges, after the legal vacation ends, will now be entitled to go on leave themselves. Then you would have created a long vacuum where the cases are not being.
Justice Bafuboni, over to you. I think he's the best person to deal with this matter. But I think
I wanted to do this story about auctioneers blowing alarm over unauthorized letters to circumvent established auction protocols for vehicles and other things. So the Ghana Auctioneers Association is appealing to the Ministry of the Interior and other relevant regulatory authorities to investigate and clamp down on the growing practice of unauthorized auction procedures across the country. So people are circumventing auction processes for their benefit.
Anyways, I've heard very little about that.
Maybe we should speak to someone on that on this auction subject, because this auction conversation has been a long existing one. There are institutions that have always or auctioneers that have always pointed out the shortcomings within the system.
Anyways, I would want to congratulate somebody who is employed. I hear 400 locals. So that is the Damang mine. And the chiefs and people in the community are saying that all promises that have been made have been started. So congratulations to Ibrahim Mahama for good work being done thus far. 400 locals employed, airstrip and roads underway. And they claim, per their report, that they've seen it. So for me, these are the practical things that I would like to applaud. I am seeing it. The promise is being effected. It is being put on the ground. So congratulations again to Ibrahim Mahama. And good morning to Uncle Julius Amatefiu. And you're also listening to us this morning. He says he's loving what is going on here. So that
absolutely.
Is it.
Mutala is here. He'll do sports for us.
Yes.
And after which we'll return with
has Ghana won the women's something?
We were kicked out of the quarterfinal stage.
Oh, really?
We didn't progress past
we
that
didn't
stage.
But
at least
they went
a
to
better effort from Black Queens.
No problem. They've done well. Yes.
So thank you guys helping us do sports. Let me see if a bit more in terms of messages, particularly on Facebook, right? As to some of the things we've been talking about, even as Mutala comes around to do sports for us. Daniel Idua Fare says the GBA is just an MPP annex. What did the GBA say when Afenyo-Markin? I mean, some of these claims.
Ghanaians.
Daniel writes a lot. He sends quite a lot of messages.
Okay, that's beautiful.
He says, good morning, Eric, and the rest of the team. Watching you live from Doha, Qatar. I must say you guys are doing fantastic. Are doing a fantastic job. By the way, welcome to Helen. He welcomes Helen back.
Yeah.
And so he's excited about the fact-checking we have done on some of the claims.
That's great.
As well.
That's great.
Whilst on end.
Tell him to take photos of the roads in Doha and post them to us. So we live by such.
So Daniel, if you're listening and you want to do that, 053-220-0927 is our WhatsApp number. 053-220-0927 is a WhatsApp number by which you can
take photos of roads in Doha.
And not just Daniel in Doha, but you as well who's listening to us from wherever you're listening to us from. You're always an important part of the show, and so always make it a point to be a part of our conversations. And we love hearing from you and listening to you as well in relation to the different matters.
I want Kay to write a book that will be taken to the primary schools and secondary schools, that JHS and SHS, for us to learn a lot about the history of our various ethnic groups.
We'll get into that. Mutala Yakubu is here. He'll do sport for us right now.